Damn. What's up, guys? Straight off Nightshift for this episode. Worked the last 2 nights. Matt still got his badge on. ISU jacket. Getting chilly here. Look at that, dude. RN.
Can't disclose, guys, where I work, but
The question is, Matt, did you float today?
I did not float today.
Interesting.
But I did float the shift before, and I have an experience to share.
Yeah. What kind of experience you want to share with us? Lessons with your experience.
God bless you guys. So we actually both were in the ICU. You ended up going just to DOU and took some patients. With me, they wanted to replace some musical chairs. So what ended up happening is there's always shortage going on. They always need to pull nurses, do some weird stuff. So they ended up wanting me to take 4 DOU patients from the ICU and admit them one by one in DOU. And even the charge nurse for one of them, like I said, she wanted me to take that patient, wheel him and myself to the floor.
Take it with you.
Take with me after I take my break. And I stood up for myself at that point. I'm just like, don't we have transporters? If this was not in California, I wouldn't tell them, hey, I'm not going to do it because you're supposed to. But in this case, I'm like, no, there's a transporter. We'll just wait. What's the rush? I'm going to be bust to mass.
Yeah, it's a process because you got to get the bed from the step-down unit, bring it over to ICU, get the patient out there, and bring it back.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
And it's weird how the other nurses in DOU have assignments, and I'll still have to do all the admissions. But it is what it is. Didn't have any choice. I actually ended up admitting only 2 from the ICU, and then they ended up switching things around. I was supposed to get a direct admit from another hospital. That one got canceled. I was supposed to take an ED admission. Lucked out that did not happen, and it kind of went smooth from that. But it's just busy, man. You know how it goes 7 to 11. You're charting, then you're admitting patients. So
yeah, I feel that same night I had 3 cold grays.
How was it, cold gray?
It was interesting. The first one that happened, I was on a break, and like I was chilling in the break room when I hear a cold gray overhead. Like it's literally right when I went into badged in, sat down, and right where they call it cold gray. I'm like, that's for sure my patient. And I was like in my head, I was like, should I go there and just take my break later, or should I just chill? So I chill. I'm like,
I would too, man.
Yeah.
Handle your break.
Yeah, it's a good charge nurse. I knew the charge nurse. He's really good. He takes care of business. So I was like, nah, they're gonna handle it. I'm not worried about it. But that same night, I ended up calling 2 more cold grays on him. And this guy had no IV access. Didn't want to take anything PO. We gave him IM Ativan 1 time. We gave him Haldol IM twice, and we gave him valium IM once. All IM. Because you couldn't do anything with the guy. And this guy was so adamant about leaving, and he was so wobbly. He almost fell for us 3 or 4 times. And for days, he actually escaped twice. The first time, they found him on a staircase. Second time, they found him walking outside with his family. And the family was able to convince him to come in. So then we put him on security hold. It was called a 1799, where the physician decides that the patient is not safe to leave, either for himself or the risk of harming others. So we had put him on a 24-hour hold. So basically we're just telling the guy, hey, we're gonna let you out in the morning at 8. You had to be here overnight. But he was still super adamant. So we had to give him those IMs, and we had to have 3 security guards hold him down for us to give the IM stuff. So it was wild. And he was sleeping for a little bit. And I was like, maybe I can sneak an IV in. But then I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna wake him up. Which I kind of regret. I probably should have, because maybe he would have been a little more compliant, because that was the same night I decided to stay over. So I worked overtime that day. So I decided to stay till 11, because this guy fell asleep at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, for sure, I'll stay over. I'll have the same patients. The guy's probably knocked out. He's going to be probably sleeping all the way till noon. 8:30 comes around, start moving around. 9 o'clock comes around. And I just see him like Frankenstein sit up from the bed. And I was like, oh, damn, it's 9 o'clock right now. I still got 3 more hours of this.
Right.
And once again, but luckily the doctor was coming by, and the doctor was kind of freaked out the way he was behaving. He didn't want to put any orders in. He's like, he got psyched right away. He freaked out. I was like, all right, so we've been dealing with all
so
that.
So literally looked like Frankenstein.
Yeah, literally how you sit, Frankenstein movie, he just sit straight up. And I already knew, dude, we locked eyes. I already know it's going to be back to square one. But we were dealing with this stuff all night, and we had to keep paging people for orders and cold grades, and finally the doctor comes around and freaks out. And it's one of those things where, sometimes doctors don't want to put in orders. That's kind of what was happening overnight. And then when he finally saw him in the morning, he's like, oh shit, and then he finally did something. we probably should have done something throughout the night, but sometimes people don't want to do anything until they come see it. And he like freaked out so bad, he called like psych. Psych came, running right off the bat. They evaluated him, didn't know what to do.
What was this guy main chief complaint?
Alcohol withdrawal. So basically, he was withdrawing, he had a seizure at home, came into the ED, had another seizure. So we had to keep him. And I talked to one of his family members, and they basically said that they want to keep him there because they don't want him home right now. They literally said, whatever we gotta do, strap him to the bed, give him any kind of medication. They gave us permission to do that. And I was like, that was pretty expensive.
Yeah, and I heard the house soup talk about that same patient today, and they ended up sending him home. He signed himself out of AMA. I guess that hold that you mentioned was expired. He was learning oriented, and he just wanted to leave, and they did.
Yeah.
Which, I get it. It's a safety risk for the staff to keep this guy around. What are you going to do with him? Might as well just send him home.
Yeah.
And the way you mentioned the stuff to the family, it just sounds very sad. It sounds like he's a person that's probably verbally and maybe even physically abusive to his wife/kids, and they want the best for him, but clearly the hospital is not the place to be. So he needs to go to like a detox facility or something and have him, do some wonders there to help this guy out.
Right, yeah. But once again, he's got to do it on his own will. We could have helped him detox for most part. We could have helped him with the withdrawals, but he just didn't want to do it. And we know he's going to go home, probably drink again, and probably repeat itself.
Right, so that makes sense. So the seizure brought him there. Not that he wanted to stop drinking at the beginning.
The seizure brought him there, and then
he wanted to go home and crack a beer.
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, he didn't say that's what he wanted to do. But what else is he going to do? He's not going to be able to manage withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah,
like he was already wild now, but he did get. The second time he freaked out when I was staying over, he was a little bit more steady and he was a little bit more with it, but he's still very delusional. So I'm sure he got a little bit better when they let him go AMA or discharge or whatever they decided to do with him. So, it is what it is. So it was crazy because like the night prior, that was one of the hardest shifts that I had just because I had that cold gray, not because it was like crazy hard or critical. It was just that cold gray I was dealing with all night. And plus I decided to stay over, so I worked 16 hours or 17 or whatever. So that kind of sucked, but it was nice because last night I got to be a relief for the ICU, which is super chill, no patients. All you do is break nurses, you do a little bit of tasks, maybe help with the baths, help with translating, reading lips in last night's case. And then I got floated at around midnight to DOU, but it was clutch because the ICU was overstaffed, but that's technically so was DOU because they didn't have patients to give me. So what I was doing in DOU was being another break nurse. So I was relief in ICU and I was break for DOU, which was a pretty smooth night because they have to chart a single thing.
Oh, that's clean.
Yeah, I charted 5 things yesterday. And those all 5 things were blood sugars I took. And that's it.
Wow. Super
chill. So I went from like a crazy ass hectic day where I stayed overtime to this more chill night for me at least.
No wonder to go out so early.
Yeah, I was as soon as it's 7 o'clock, I'm like, oh, no one needs a break anymore. I'm out of here. But let me tell you guys, day shift was super short. That's probably the short I've ever seen them. I think they only had 6 nurses and then you had a total of 12 and I stepped down. So not a real bad morning for day shift. Real big DSP.
Yeah, you mentioned the lip reading. So Peter was helping me out translate with my quadriplegic patient that I had. And it's so sad because this person cannot move or anything, do nothing. And the only sense that she can use is her voice to communicate. And that got taken away from her because she has a trach right now. She's vented. She doesn't have the passenger valve. So you're just like trying to read her lips. Imagine how frustrating that is. And she has anxiety. Like, honestly, I would never wish that for anyone because that's like literally being buried alive. You can't do anything. You can't move anything. It's just, you're completely hopeless. Mm-hmm. Even when I was giving her tissue, she wanted the tissues next to her, but she can't even physically pull the tissue and wipe herself. I was just like, whoa. But one cool thing I did is I ended up switching to call lights because I don't know how they did this before, but the call light where you just like tap something over their head and then they call. But the downside of that was you can't switch the remote on the TV. So she wanted to watch TV all night. So every single time I had to switch the channel, I had to unplug it from the wall, plug the call light in, switch the TV, plug the other call light in.
You have to process.
Small tasks, but nursing.
Yeah, so why I was really good at reading her lips is because I had her, when she was extubated, I had her on BiPAP because now she's trach. We wanted to prevent her from being trach. So I was literally reading her lips while she was on the BiPAP.
Damn.
So I literally like almost figured out everything out, like every word that she was basically saying, because she was super anxious on that BiPAP, super anxious. I had to give her, I forgot what I gave her. I don't know what it was. Something for anti-anxiety. It wasn't Ativan. It was something else. Someone with a Z, I think. Or Atarax. It was Atarax. I believe.
I gave that today as well.
Yeah.
Atarax. First time I ever gave it, and it's cool because it works like almost like a Benadryl. It's not a opiate or sedative or Seroquel, so not psychoactive, but it works in a way where it just sedates them a bit in a way as like the Zyrtex and Benadryl medications, and it just makes them drowsy to go to sleep.
It's an antihistamine too. So it was interesting. When I looked it up, I was like, antihistamine. And then it has like the off-label uses of like sedation or anxiety. I was like, oh, okay, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, it kind of sucked because she was doing pretty good on the BiPAP. So I was like, for sure, maybe she's not gonna get tricked, but ended up getting tricked.
Yeah.
So it's what it is.
All right, ladies and gents, it's a pretty decent debrief we had here. Almost wrapping up our contracts. I think we're at I'm at 10 shifts left.
Literally a month. Today's what? The 18th? Yeah, less.
Yeah.
It's in a month.
And for those that are listening, love these debriefs, we're going to take a break for a few weeks / months when we take a trip out to South Asia. So we'll see how we do these debriefs in the future. Maybe y'all listening and want to share your debrief story and want to share your experience. We're totally down to get you on the show, chat about your shift, and pick your brain about the real life of nursing.
Yeah, that was super fun. Like I'm down to do that while we're in Thailand. Have somebody hop on, talk about their day, shoot some shit.
Yeah. And if you guys are listening and want to do that, just send us a message on Instagram or email us and we'll get you on and we'll chat.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to go to sleep. Have a great day.
Peace.